Yeah, Ashish. Is it clear to you? Audio and video? Please give a confirmation. Well, it's all okay.
From my side, that everything is clear, like all the
No, actually for live streaming part, Ashish was cross-checking. That's why. Ritika, can you please do one thing?
Yeah, 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 sure. You can.
Uh, Actually, I'm connected with this my phone, and
Okay.
when it comes to open my session, when it comes to audience question part, so can you able to pick up those one and ask to Arun?
Okay, sure. Means when volume comes, so I have to just start at a little bit of
Yeah,
introduction.
yeah. Because okay, so I think yeah. Hi Arun. No, you're not audible actually.
Actually, you mute yourself. You
It's
mute.
still
Hey, can you hear me?
yeah, yeah. Now it's clear. Now it's clear.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Wish you first of all a belated very happy Diwali. And how was your day till now?
And yeah,
okay,
it's been great. What about you guys?
okay.
And we
So I
can.
think yeah. So everything is perfect now. We can start this session.
Sure, sure.
Okay. I think your voice is coming after delay. Ritika, are you feeling that same, or is it okay to you?
Oh, is it fine now?
Yeah. Now it's
Yeah.
fine. Now it's perfect. Perfect.
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
so let's start this session. I think our audience have been waiting for this session from the last week, but due to some reasons, this has to be postponed for Diwali reasons and some other issues are there.
Okay.
So yeah, so now we are back with this another episode of this weekend with us series, and I would like to welcome all of the audience who are watching us and who will going to be watching in the future this session. And in this episode of the session, we are back with Arun Kumar, who is a ST1 at Ola, and basically here working on Java backend developer part at a high level scalable systems. Basically, am I right?
Right, right.
Yeah. So basically, first of all, before starting anything, before saying anything, I would like to thank Mr. Arun Kumar. Sir, when I came to know you about your timing, your busy schedule, I must be very thankful to you and thank you, really thank you for giving your valuable time to the station, for sharing your knowledge and experience to the engineers who are willing to, take their Java skills to the next level.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, so I
yeah,
would be happy to share my journey since
yeah.
like
So
1 or 2 years
for
ago, I
that,
was in the same place as many of you guys. So I used
yeah,
to wait for podcasts like this, and that's how I
because this is
also.
the yeah, because this is the phase that everyone has to pass at least once. So
Right, right, right.
yeah, from on the behalf of Engineer Hub, I would like to thank you for giving your time and joining this session, sharing your thoughts and experiences.
Sure, sure.
So basically,
Definitely.
yeah. So let me give you a brief introduction about Arun Kumar to our audience. He's basically SD1 at Ola, working like I just said earlier. He's working on Java backend development part at highly scalable systems. Firstly, he was in TCS as a software engineer. Then he transited to this Ola. Uh,
Right.
okay. So basically, this was a brief introduction, as much I can share with my audiences. So would you like to tell a little bit more about yourself, Arun, to our audience?
Yeah, sure. So my software journey started in back in 2014 when I took computer science for my 11th and 12th standard. So at that time, I felt some connection in coding when I used to solve problems. So back then, the programming language was C++ taught in our school, and we used to solve questions like reversal English or print an array, hello world, and the patterns, the
Yeah,
basic elementary
everyone
stuff.
everyone do the same. Yeah.
Yeah, so back then I felt a connection. So I felt that okay, I like this, I like this coding part of the computer science. There are a lot of other subjects. I never liked the theory part. So always the practical part excited me. So whenever it's computer practicals, I used to be like, okay, now I don't even study. So even if I just go through the code and then I can write the exam, but the theory part I used to completely mess up. So after my 12th, I decided that okay, I'll pursue the computer science. So in my home, my parents used to be like, okay, you can take whatever branch you want, but you have to take engineering. So as a typical parents, typical Indian parents, right? So that was the case with me. So I obviously chose computer science. So I joined Amrita University in 2016. If you know about Amrita, it is one of the good private engineering colleges, private universities, which has very good rank in the near rankings of Indian government and all. So the one of the important aspects that attracted me towards Amrita was their excellent placement record. So I thought, okay, I'll get placed if I somehow study. And in the first year of my college, I was part of the FOSS club. So FOSS means FOS, the free and open source software. So there was a club which was revolving around the open source community. There used to be many organizations like Fedora, the Mozilla, and all. So
Yeah.
I never got going in that club. So as many of the people who joined the club early, I felt like okay, I don't like to do this thing. So what they were doing is majorly the development, majorly web development. I felt somehow disconnected from that, and I used to go for other things like sports and let's say the like different kinds of sports, plus some
Okay.
outdoor activities and all in my college in my first year. Then there used to be another programming club, which is like the competitive club, CP club. There, once you go there, after your first year, the teachers will evaluate your performance in the coding contest in CodeChef code courses, and the whole program which we were doing can be BTech honors. So apart from the regular BTech, they will be given a BTech honors. So
Yeah.
that was the case, and like very few people went to that club, and one among them was my roommate, Ashwin. So he used to tell me like, okay, bro, join the club. You will benefit in the placement session. So I was like, no, this it's too hard. I never tried it in the first place, but uh, tried in the sense tried hard. So I did, like attended one or two contests at that time in back in 2016 or 17, and I said, okay, I don't feel like the interest because I directly took some hard contest. I don't remember which, but that was in entry level. So and the years passed by, and I used to score the CGPA anywhere between 7.5 and 8.5. So it was
Okay.
like the fixed range for me. I used to be active a lot in the sports as well during this whole time, and the the subjects which excited me again was DSA in the college. I used to score good marks in that, and once I reached third year around I think seventh, sixth sem, like the last sem of third year, that's when I realized okay, uh, around that time, Microsoft came to our campus for internship program. So that was my first like experience with the big techs or the interview process. So I was not prepared for that obviously because I never used to do CP or major development and stuff. I just study whatever was taught in college. So that it was held in Hacker, I think Hacker Rank, and there were around four questions. for the Microsoft internship drive, and I solved 1.5 questions. But the confidence I got after solving one question was great. So after that, I understood. Okay, so companies ask only this. Like DSA will be the first round for all the companies.
Yeah.
So I realized that okay, I have to somehow do some coding, some DSA to get into a good company. Then I started like in the sixth semester. We also had that DSA course. It's not exactly a DSA course, but the coding course. So which will uh, help the other branches also, let's say mechanical, as well as CSE, everybody to clear the first round in most of the IT companies, the online assessment. So it was like a coding course. So during that course, I used to talk to my teacher who taught me at that time about how to clear the placement round, right? So the online assessment. So he used to give me a lot of resources. Uh, like somehow I managed to do like some questions. So just before the placement season happened, which is like in June, I guess,
Yeah.
in my fourth year.
In that season, yeah.
So yeah, so we had some sem break, and I got like 1 month, and I did like 120 questions in these 4 weeks. I like never reached the advanced concepts like DP or let's say trees. Trees I did, but the graphs and DP I never touched.
Okay.
Then there was this placement season happening, and we all were excited for the placements as all the other folks out there. And it started with a lot of disappointments, expected, right? Because a lot of companies, I think, it was Intuit, Amazon, all those came, and all the CP guys who uh, worked hard from their first year. It was like a piece of cake for them when they cleared and they got placement. They got placed in all those companies, even Cisco. So I couldn't attend Cisco because I didn't have 8.5 CGPA. They put some filter like nobody can attend if they don't have 8.5 CGPA. That broke me because I was looking forward to Cisco, and like I understood okay, even 8 is not enough. We need 8.5. Uh, in the meantime, I had like one placement going on. At that time, I had this coding contest from TCS, Code Vita, if you know about it. It's a
Yeah.
contest held by TCS, uh, which which has the record for the most participated contest or something. So the first round happened, and there were around 6 questions. Like out of the blue, I didn't have any idea. Like, okay, this is an opportunity for a job or anything. I just attended it. Like, I thought, okay, this will be a practice for the placements. And I solved around 2 questions and two to three, I guess. Then I left it like that. Then again,
Okay.
there was this hack with Infi, which is a contest held by Infosys. Infi
Infosys,
hack
yeah.
with Infi, yeah. So I also attended that, and again, there were 3 questions. I think I cleared around 1.5 to 2 questions in that. Then came the results of this. So I was in the last round of company's placement process, and somehow I couldn't make it through, and I was broken, and I came to my room and thinking like, okay, maybe I won't get any job. So I randomly opened my mail to see what are the companies which are coming next, right? So I saw the mail of TCS there saying that interview opportunity with TCS for digital role. Then I was like, okay, what happened? I didn't have any idea. So I took and so okay, so this can fetch you interviews. I didn't have that idea when I was doing the contest. Okay. Then because I cleared like 2 questions, more than 2 questions, they called me for digital. Whatever is less than that, they call me for. They call the other people for ninja. If they have at least one or 1.5 questions cleared. Then I thought, okay, we had some other placements going on. I thought, okay, this is an interview, not even an online assignment, so the chances are more. And they said that there will be 3 interview panelists, and one will be technical, one will be HR, and one will be hiring manager. So usually there'll be like different kinds of rounds, like 3 rounds, right? So they
Yeah.
made it in a 1 round, and I had to go to the TCS office. So this was pre-COVID, so that's why the physical interview. This was in 2019 August. I went to the TCS office and got amazed by the big campus they have, the facilities they have. Like I got a taste of how the MNC works and like what is in there. Then I went for the interview, and the questions I got was again coding questions. So right there in the interview hall, they told me to code the solution for a question which they took from some site. I hadn't heard of that site before, so it was also like kind of hacker rank. So they
Okay.
gave me that question and told me to code it there. They gave me their laptop, and uh, I coded the solution and explained like this is my approach. Then they
Okay.
asked me a lot of
Yes. Sorry
technical
to sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you.
yeah.
Can you please clearly mention what were the level of questions in Code Beta? Because I think many of the audience of who is watching us in this live session, I
Hmm.
think there will be someone who is preparing for the Code Beta, right? Because there are
Yeah, yeah.
someone who have not done that much CPO, that much TSA. So,
Right,
like,
right,
what
right.
were the level of questions in Code Beta and how you prepare for them for that round?
Yeah, so my preparation was that the 120 G for gauge questions I did. I
Yeah.
didn't do anything after that. And the level would be so there were six questions, right? Out of them, around I would classify one as somewhere between easy, like slightly
Okay.
easy to medium, but mostly easy. Second I solved was around medium. So now I am talking on this medium, easy, hard basis on the basis of what I did in the lead code after that. So I'm
Okay.
comparing lead code level to that. So the second question was lead code medium, and third was again lead code medium. I think fourth to sixth were like medium to medium hard.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
basically, yeah, this was your whole journey, and you have covered almost. So firstly, you made into TCS through Code Beta, and you
Right.
were yeah. So
Right, right. So, in the meantime, so I mentioned about the hack with IMSI, right? So, after the hack with IMSI first round, they shortlisted me for the second round, and in the second round, I felt the questions were comparatively easy compared to what I had in Code Beta. So the questions were like easy, medium to medium. That's it. And I solved around. I had a train at that time, so I only got half the time of the whole uh, the contest, and still I managed to get around more than one question. I managed to clear, and they shortlisted me for this 5 LPA specialist programmer role. Uh,
okay,
Not the specialist engineer, I guess, which is not the mass placement, but not the power programmer, which they have like 9 or 8 LPA. It was like in the middle of them, 5.56 LPA. They shortlisted me for that as well. That was in there, but this, so I went for the TCS interview, and they in the interview they after coding they asked me a lot of questions revolved around OS, DBMS, SQL versus NoSQL, some Java, Python, ML, cloud. So I after before going for the interview, I read a lot of interview experiences for teachers digital interviews in Geeks for Geeks, and I prepared for all of them. And a lot of questions were the same, like what
okay.
is ML, how can cloud change the world, all those things. And I
So
prepared
I
for them.
think GFG was a game changer for you. I
Right,
think
right,
it,
right.
yeah, it can be proved game changer to many of the students who are preparing for this TCS and Infosys level companies. Okay,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
basically,
even for the other companies, I feel like GFC is like really valuable. Every day, like most of the programmers, they use a lot of Stack Overflow. People will say, right? Along with Stack Overflow, Git4use is one of the main things we use in daily life. So after that, I got into TCS for digital roles, and there my professional career started. And initially, I was mapped to cloud unit, so I had some internship of 4 months. So with the thesis digital, there was this optional internship which we can opt in, and there were limited slots, and I applied and got into one. The internship experience was like we we had to come up with a REST API using Python and Flask. So we had done something, but the problem was that at that time the COVID happened and everything went to work from home and lockdown happened. We lost the project in between. A lot of stuff happened. So after the internship, I joined TCS in 2020 July. From there, I like the first 1 month was training. So it's not exactly training, but like we were taught about cloud. Not we,
Okay.
like only 2 people were there inside the project. So the cloud technology which they were teaching was based on GCP, which is Google Cloud. Uh, and we were given assignments and a lot of things. Like in the whole 1 month, I learned a lot of things. There used to be like tasks and all. And after like 1 month, they told me to do the certification for GCP. For that, they gave teachers will give you free coupons and free training sessions which are offered by Google. So I did the GCP Associate Cloud Engineer certification as well, which is valid for 2 years. I still have it. And
Okay.
after that, I directly joined a project, a working project, where I couldn't do much things because it was still a POC. So the entire tech stack was in Python. Uh, like it was not a mature project or like it was a starting phase, right? So after that,
Okay.
I got mapped to a real like proper running project where most of the things happening were revolved around data analytics and data engineering. And
Okay.
there were many seniors. So whatever they were using was the language was Python, completely in Python, and the environment was Jupyter Lab. And like we were a bunch of data analysts along with some data engineers as well. So even the data engineers are basically data analysts who used to like make data available for the data analyst to analyze on. And the
Okay.
client was Canadian multinational corporation, and they were dealing with the transactions of like let's say credit card and the bank other stuff. So there we dealt with a lot of data. So that's when I got a real taste of how much data we handle in everyday life, like all the big corporations.
Okay.
And
Arun, sorry for interruption. I think, yeah, the journey that you have shared is, I think, it will be some helpful for the students who are watching us. But I think we have limited time of span. I think you must be having some other works to do as well. So can we, yeah, so can we move to the Java backend part? Like, as the theme of this session is like how to prepare for the Java backend part, because most of
right,
us are just limited to the core Java part. So, like, if you have to start with the core Java, then what would be your suggestion that how one should be proceed with the core Java part? Like, there are many lots of concept about objects, classes, encapsulation, abstraction. So, how would you suggest to learn someone about the core Java concepts? Because I guess Java is the that part. If you know the core Java with the full concept, with the full proof concept, then you can move to in any field. It may be either web development, app development, anywhere. So what would be your suggestion regarding that?
yeah. So what I had Java experience before I joined Ola was very limited. So I studied OOPS in Java in my college. That's it. And I somehow didn't like Java back then because of maybe the way we were taught Java. So I
Okay.
used to hate Java. Okay. And I felt like a lot of people, lot of students do that. Like they never liked Java. So like once after I got into Ola, so before getting into Ola, so every almost all the backend in Ola is based in Java. Right? So like not even in Ola, a lot of companies, like at least if you take the major companies, let's say there are like 100 companies, around 70% or 65 to 70% will be having Java backend in their backend.
Okay.
So this is the like the distribution. That's why you see a lot of Java developer openings around the globe. So my journey with Java started after getting to Ola. So here we deal with like the core Java, right? So we had a combination of core Java. The most of the frameworks are like Spring Boot. Then
Yeah.
there was something called Vertex. That like uh, many of the Vertex has the functionalities from Node.js.
Okay.
Plus, so the Spring Boot was a major framework used in Java. So there I started learning Spring Boot from Building, Baeldum. You can Google it. So that's one of
Okay.
the great websites to learn Spring. So like I was very new to Spring when I like started doing the project. So I had to fast track my learning in one side and do the job in the other side. So I was learning Spring and Java, core Java, in the night, and in the morning I used to work, right. So uh, I I somehow uh, utilize a lot of YouTube channels. Okay. One of the YouTube channels is Free Code Camp, and
Yeah.
many of you must be knowing that.
Most popular. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And Amigos Code as well. Amigos Code. I started Amigos Code. Then I found out like it's very good, and I watched a lot of videos of them. Then along with this, so the main thing about Java is that there is a lot of community support available,
Yeah.
right? So if you Google something in, let's say, Golang, you will find like, let's say, 100 resources, and in Java it's like 1,000 resources you can see. So
Yeah.
the
It's
community
one of the
support,
old language. Yeah, it's one of the old language. That's why it has a major number of community, major number for programmers who are coding in Java.
right, right.
Yeah.
So apart from the core Java, we also use a lot of other components in backend. Let's say the cache, which is Redis, for example. And there are libraries in Java where we can leverage the functionalities of Redis. So the one of the other example which is widely used all over the industry is Kafka. I know that very limited number of students or people who are not in the industry knows that like Kafka is used in a lot of places. So Kafka is basically open source software, which is a streaming service which can be used for uh, sending messages between microservices.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So even for
So yeah,
Kafka, the
you
main thing used is Java, along with some other programming language, but the main library support is Java.
okay? So you mentioned about the microservices part that comes in Java backend development. So, like, can you please share some roadmap or briefly share some resources or some tips to master this backend part, some microservices, Spring Boot framework, such kind of these technologies. About these
Uh,
technologies? Yeah.
yeah, sure, sure. So the microservice part, if you look at all the modern companies or the startups or most of the companies have a lot of microservices. So why
Yeah.
we break the main use case of the problem we are dealing with to microservices that it's easy to debug, easy to work on, easy to deploy, right? So when we develop a Java application, so we can start with just a very simple Spring app. So if you go
Okay.
to springstart.io, you can download a very basic template of a Spring program, a Spring Boot application. So once you add some one or two dependencies like Spring Starter, then you download that zip file and extract it, and you get up and running, right? So the one of the best IDE I would say is IntelliJ. Like most of the Java developers these days use IntelliJ. So once you open that IntelliJ, you will get a very basic template of a Spring Boot application. There will
Okay.
be a so the server which it uses is Tomcat, and everything is embedded in it. We don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So to right, so to deploy that in our local host is like a very easy process. So you can start with printing hello world, right? Then there are some other concepts in like the conventions in Java called as like the whole program or the whole microservice will be divided into different parts. So one of the part will be the controller. So when you say like let's say this is Google Meet, right? So you can see a URL meet.google.com/whatever. So that's a API endpoint. Whatever we see is an API endpoint. So behind every machine, every website, every system, there is an API endpoint. So whatever these endpoints are, let's say it's a basic app, like let's say the basic version of Flipkart, which has a lot of products. So we go into the order of one product. So let's say it's a pen. So we will be going to that particular product page using a set of parameters called as query parameters and path parameters, which we pass into the front end. We'll pass to the backend. We'll take that, and that's our API endpoint. So we have these API endpoints in a section called controllers. So
Okay.
that's the first layer. We'll reach the controller first. From the controller, we'll go to the service part. So we just reach the controller. There won't be any logic written inside the controller. So let's say we have to order something. So we are ordering pen. So once the user clicks on the order button, then the controller will take the program execution to the let's say another. So all the business logic will be written inside the service layer. Okay. So this is the control layer, and this is the service layer. Inside this, the business logic which is inside methods will be there. So once you go into this service layer, the functionalities and what we have, let's say if it's order, it should call the payment service, right?
Okay.
So payment service will be another microservice which has some API endpoint. So we'll be calling that from the inside the service layer. Then there are other set of classes which are the repo, which will be containing all the database connections, right? So
I think,
yeah.
yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I think this part is going to be bounced for all the audiences that because they are not aware of this controllers. I have done some work in this Java backend part, but most of the audience maybe there are some introduction, for the guidance, for the roadmap. So I think this question is going to be bounced for them, totally bounced for them, because controller microservices they're listening for the first time. Because I can relate to that IntelliJ IDE, and those kind of things. Okay, so basically, we have listened all the journey, all the experience that Arun has faced till now.
Yeah.
So, Rutika, is there any questions in open chat regarding Java and
Yes, yes. There is one question from Madhur. I have good knowledge of Java language, and now I want to learn backend using Spring. So, what
okay,
are the good references which I can help for the learning part? Please you recommend for the learning part.
Okay, so the fundamental principle in computer science is you learn by doing, right?
yeah,
So I would suggest all the people who are comfortable with Java. So once you get comfortable with Java, till then you have to do some let's say DSA to get a grip of the language. So once you solve like 100 questions, that's it. So the coding will come to you, the muscle memory will come to you, so that the uh, first phase, which is learning Java, will be easier. Once you are past that stage, you there are like plenty of resources out there to make sample projects, right? So which is very basic, but there will be some functionalities into it. So you can forget the front end part because we are like focusing on the back end, right? So people who like front end can also explore that aspect. Else there will be like you can hit the back end using Postman. You don't need a front end. So Postman is the API debugging tool which the industry uses. I think most of the students also are aware about Postman, I guess. So making small projects, small but effective projects will give you a kickstart in like learning the fundamental concepts behind the backend part, right? And
yeah,
these days, I feel the like back then, let's say 2010 or 2005, making a backend application is very hard. There will be a lot of dependencies. So the Java wasn't that mature at that time. So now I feel like the most of, after the Spring Boot came into picture, after the Spring library was developed, a lot of things are easier these days, and don't fear that it is a very hard thing to do backend. If you spend like I would say one month on Java backend. Once you are good at Java, so to get good at Java, you need 1 or 2 months. That's it. Two months of regular practice will make you, like, let's say, good at Java, right? Just good at Java, not the
Yeah.
master of Java. But after that, a whole 1 month you spend in making small projects. I think you are good to go.
Can you please mention some project like as you mentioned about some basic project? So
I
if someone is a beginner and he or she wants to make a basic project just for the understanding some functionalities in Java, so what would you recommend? Can you list some of them?
Yeah, so one of the projects I did to learn the backend and Spring was a cab reservation system, right?
Okay.
Then let's say there is a user login page. That itself is a good project to start with, right?
Yeah.
There should be uh, some database involved, some I forgot the front end part. Even then, we have the functionalities. We have to store it somewhere. We have to validate the passwords. We have to make sure if it's this long. So a lot of functionalities will come in there. So just a login page is a
O-
good thing to start with.
Okay. Next question, please, Ritika.
Mm. What was your last post? It is digital or museum
Sorry.
in TCS. What was your last post in TCS? It is digital or museum.
TCS, right? Yeah, so I joined as a digital and left as digital.
And does internships matter while we applying for the jobs?
Uh, it's a very tricky question, I would say, because I have seen people with no internship experience getting like really good companies. So I feel that for like big companies, let's say Amazon, I don't think that plays a big role. So what they are looking for are caliber, like in people. They just want go-getters and people who can solve problems. So as a software engineer, you get problems every single day. You have to solve them. You have to think about them, brainstorm them. So they just want people who can solve the problems which they are dealing with in their problem space. So I don't think internship plays a major role in getting you a good placement unless you do that internship from, let's say, the FANG companies or let's say the top tier companies, right? Then so let's say you did internship from Google, then the obviously your resume will be the shortlisting process. Your resume will be mostly getting noticed by the recruiter only unless you get a internship offer from the top tier company. I don't think the internship experience will matter in order to fetch you some jobs. So I'm not saying that it's not relevant, but obviously it is. But the so whatever people have in mind, even I have been in that place. I also think that I overestimated the importance of internship. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, so
Okay. So next question is like, what's the one tip that you would like to give to your juniors regarding CV part while crafting their CV or resume? What's the
regarding
regarding crafting, making their CV or resume? What's the one most important tip that you want to deliver to your juniors?
okay, good question. So, resume building is not an easy thing as
Yeah.
many things, right? So,
Yeah.
like people who, like, I know a lot of people who think that, okay, resume, we'll somehow make some resume and send it to the recruiter. So, the first thing while um, looking at the resume building process is to go to the job description of what you want to apply. Let's say you want to apply for Java backend role, right?
Yeah.
Then you have to just go to LinkedIn and search for Java backend opening. Take like 10 JDs, job descriptions from that,
Okay.
and put them in, let's say, a Google Sheet or not somewhere, Google Notes, anywhere. Then analyze the keywords. So everything matters. All the keywords matters, right, in your resume. So there is in for the recruiters there is something called ATS,
Yeah.
which
That's software.
yeah, the software which uh, like all the resumes they will be getting a lot of applications, so they can't do it manually, so they are automating it, and the ATS will pick in a lot of keywords from the resume, which the JD is asking, right? So like once you get a collection of the keywords, spend a few days in learning each of those skills, because once you decide that you want to do this, then
Yeah.
there is no turning back. You have to work hard, and let's say you need like 1 week to get a basic understanding. So I'll take an example of MySQL. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a database, and SQL is a programming language for manipulation of the tables in MySQL. So once you learn SQL for like 1 week, 7 days, that's enough to put that into your resume, because you know what that is, right? It's not like
Yeah.
you're writing without knowing. So once you do that, you can write MySQL in there. Then there will be like NoSQL, let's say MongoDB. So I feel that the keywords are the main part in resume. Then
Okay.
once you get into the industry, then whatever, like there won't be any great control in your hand, because you will be doing the projects which are given to you, right? So
Okay.
then whatever tech stack the project is using, you can put that them as well. But you have to keep in mind that you have to put a lot of keywords. Second thing, you have to order your resume perfectly. Don't put like the
In the
headlines.
random order or some kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so like I've seen a lot of people putting like the passionate student, like all those
Yeah.
things. Everybody
Those
is
kind of things.
passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they are too obvious to anyway put in resume, right? So avoid that. I would say the order of resume should be first should be experience, be it internship experience, be it work experience, be it your project experience, right? So the first should be always experience. Even before education, it should come. Then second should be so if you're working, then first should be your work experience, second should be your project, third should be your education, right? If you have done engineering, that's a very plus point in getting this, and if you do like computer science, even better, right? So that also matters. Then you can list achievements, all the old school stuff you can mention, but always keep in mind first should be your experience. Even people who have like 3 years of experience, I've seen them putting their all the unnecessary or the unimportant things in this top and complaining that they are not getting shortlisted. So
Okay. So bottom of the line is first. The first point is like resume should be in order. Like as you say, the first one is work experience. Second one is your that project. Third comes after your education. And
yes,
the second point is like your resume should be having that keyword which is mentioned in the job description, right?
exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So those who are watching this,
Maintain,
please. Yeah.
yeah, maintaining a good LinkedIn profile is also very important.
Yeah.
So
That's the
whatever
most
you
important
do,
part.
yeah, just mention just post on LinkedIn, or mention the about their bio, their education. So even in education, once you are in college, right, you have done a lot of projects. You can list all of them. Very people,
Okay.
very less people do that. So that also makes a difference.
Okay. So I think that can be the most suitable and the perfect answer for the CV, because I think that's the I think the keyword part mostly miss this from their resumes, and that's
Yeah.
where they get rejected mails. Okay,
Yeah. Even
so
if you
I
haven't
think
done a project in technology, you can put that in skills, right? That's it.
yeah,
Make a
that can be done.
section called
That can
skills.
be done.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's 9:45, and there are lots of questions already in the background. But I think we have to wrap up this session. I think that's going to be enough. 45 minute session. I think it's going to be enough. Those who are I'm sorry. Uh, there was some. Is my video clear, Kritika?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but last one more question. Like,
Yeah.
like you are most are here from the three-tier colleges. Like, so how can we transfer from like product bus to means service bus to product bus? So would you like to guide like most of the time we use refer or we just directly jump to the career means websites of company. So what are the right ways?
Right, right, right. So it's a very relevant question in the times we live in, because the service-based to product-based transition is never easy unless you have like 8 or 9 years of experience. Like you are a subject matter expert in that field, right? So people who are like just starting out, 1 2 years of experience, very hard to switch to product-based companies. That's the first thing I would to put out. That's the truth. Like I don't want to sugarcoat anything and say it's easy, go guys and just apply, get placed, right? So I faced a lot of rejections. So I know some people who got into service-based companies and got rejected in the product-based companies interviews just because they are service-based. So once the interviewer comes, they used to say like, okay, you're from here, and they assume that they don't know any coding. What are the candidates there? Thinks he's from service-based, doesn't know coding. So there are like many judgmental people out there who judges you just based on the company you're from, even if you are like the master of coding, right? So to get over that, the main thing you have to do is keep working hard. That's the only thing which will take you to places, right? So I still remember preparing a list of around 120 product-based companies. We see a lot of lists in LinkedIn these days, right? Back then, I myself created some lists and put them in a Google Sheet, and then put that as a checklist and used to apply to each and every opening out there. And I seldom got any callbacks, but I never stopped it. And finally, like I applied in Ola. So I applied in Ola to careers portal without any referral or any recruiter. So I just randomly applied. So I use lead code a lot. So after my transition to TCS, so after around 1.5 years, I started to do a lot of lead code. After 1 year, I started, and in 1.5 years, I got into Ola. So I solved around like 500 problems and got I did like problems like till I get a satisfaction that okay, I know how to solve most of the questions asked me in the interview. I solved questions till I got to that point, and after that, the getting shortlisted was a very big uh, headache for most of the candidates, right? So I was no different, and once you apply to many companies, someone will call you back. Have that belief, even if you're from service-based company, even if you're from tier 3 college, there will be always openings. There will be always new companies coming up. So the chances are that the more you apply, the better chance you have.
Okay.
Thank you for that. And one last question, sorry for that question. That do you have any proper learning material with you regarding Java so that we can refer our engineers so that they can get a help? Because nowadays we get so much content on YouTube, but we don't know what are the proper content to be followed.
Okay, so I myself didn't like let's say followed a single path and learn Java, right? I don't think that's even possible because as software engineers we are always expected to explore ourselves a lot of things
Yeah.
alone, right? So you can always follow these sheets and the roadmap and stuff, but at the end of the day, what you find and explore and learn yourself matters, right? So I can point you some very good resources which I refer, but it's not always one particular website or one particular roadmap I follow. I've seen that with a lot of other people also. There will be always courses, but the statistics say that like people who start a course and people who are finishing the course, the ratio there is like humongously different, right? All of us know that we start a course in let's say Udemy or Edureka and we don't finish it. So following one course is not ideal. So I would say W3 schools, uh, Java T points, as well as I think tutorials points. These three are the important things I referred, and Geeks for Geeks also for like not only for coding. All these articles which are written on Geeks for Geeks also help me a lot. These are the like and for learning Spring and Spring Boot, the build BAELDUNG, I think, which is also a very underrated website.
Okay, thanks so much for
Okay.
answering.
Yeah, and those are questioning, I guess. Let's I think that we have given all our social media platforms in the description. So if you have any
Yeah.
questions which is not unanswered, so just drop your message over there. Our team, our mentors team will help you in every possible way. Okay. I think it's already 15 minutes, so I think that's enough for today. And once again, uh, truly, Engineer Hub is very thankful to you having time joining this session and sharing your some points, tips, and and the most important part that your journey from TCS to that Ola, I think it will boost confidence of many students because cracking code beta, then working as a I think system engineer. You were there at TCS,
Yeah, the designation was systems engineer, and people
system
who were in
engineer.
Ninja was, I think, associate system engineer training.
Yeah. So it will be a lesson for those who are not able to crack our companies, who are not able to get their dream companies. So still you have time. Only the thing you have to do work hard, level up your skills. As Arun have worked hard and he was able to move from make transition from this TCS to Ola. So I think your story going to inspire a lot of people, and hopefully it will inspire a lot who will going to watch this session in the future as well. Okay, so finally let's wrap up the session. Thank you for joining the session, and
Yeah.
yeah,
So I just want to point out one more thing. So when I was in TCS, I used to get very less calls from recruiters. I think like very limited number through LinkedIn or through any other platform, right? So once people like this is a motivation for people who are working hard, so they don't have to think about like the job switch part now itself, but when you do once you get into a good company, then you will be in demand, you will be in like great demand. So I get a lot of messages from recruiters. So every other day I will receive some opening messages from recruiters, and they'll be directly calling for interviews. So I'm talking about the FANG level companies, right? The top tier companies. Once you get into any good company, then you don't have to bother. You don't have to go through the same process again and again. Things will be made easier. So it will be like a stairs. So the more you climb, the higher you reach, right? So the more easier it gets.
okay. So I guess at the end of the session, by discussing and by sharing this point, you have boosted the confidence. I think one level more of our audiences who are watching this. The only thing you have to work is just to get into good company, and there are lots of opportunities are waiting for you, right?
Right, right. Once you
Yeah.
work
So only
hard
you have to
into the
work hard.
company, yeah,
Yeah.
then you just need to do your job, right? Whatever you do it best. What the task
Yeah.
assigned to you, finish it on time, and then directly the without putting a lot of other things like other effort into this. Just by doing your job, you will get good at it, right? If you're
Okay.
interested and after one point you will get into the design discussions, system design, the low level design, high level design, all those big responsibilities will come to you. Gradually your the monetary benefits also increase, right? So
Okay. So I think it's going to be more delay. It's going to be 10 p.m. And let's have the session by giving a final thank you to our speaker Arun Kumar. Really, we will be thankful. We feel very honored to have you with our session on this our platform. And the tips that you have mentioned, hopefully it will inspire a lot of people. Okay. So
yeah,
thank you for joining. Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Have a good
very
time.
big initiative you guys have taken. I feel like this will help a lot of students and the
Yeah.
community out there. So
Thank
kudos
you.
to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. We will be forever grateful for your support and guidance.
Sure, sure.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.